I grew up playing the Devil May Cry video games, so when Netflix announced a new animated show, I was beyond excited. But is it worth checking out, or should you skip out on it? Let's get started on my review of Devil May Cry Season 1. Let's go.
From the town I like nothing, when I'm hopefuls live. A small city or something, but mostly no one forgets. On the outskirts of where I've been, dreaming since a kid. Thought I was cursed to never see a radio hit. A Grammy to industry or something, even close. Miles outside.
What's going on, all my beautiful people? This is Jacey, and I just finished watching the first season of Devil May Cry. Before I do start my review, please note this will be a spoiler-free review, just in case you haven't seen Season 1 yet, or any episodes currently showing on Netflix. Also, please make sure that you hit that like, hit that subscribe, hit that notification bell to stay up to date on more animated shows that I'm reviewing just like this. So, Devil May Cry Season 1 stars Yong, Bosch, the late great Kevin Conroy, Robbie Damon, Scout Taylor Compton, Hoon Lee, and more. A professional demon hunter named Dante seeks vengeance for the death of his family and faces off against sinister forces. So when I said in the intro that I grew up playing this video game series, I only played about 2 of the video games, to be honest, and I loved the action, the feel of them, being able to shoot dual guns, using the sword, all those things. It was just fun to play. Now when it came to the story though, I knew a little bit about it, especially as the video games went on and sequels were announced and my brother would play the game. I would watch him and kind of catch on to the story. So I was a little familiar, but I wasn't too deep into the story, just more into the gameplay, to be honest, because I always thought it was fun. And it was one of those games you could just really get lost into the action and the gameplay of it. But since Netflix announced this animated show, I was excited for this because Netflix has been adapting a lot of video games into animated shows, and as of recently, most of them have been good. I feel like Netflix has really been hitting the mark. Now, Devil May Cry starts off a little bumpy, and I will be honest about that. I was kind of leery at first. First few episodes feel a little bit clunky with not only some of the dialogue, but also some of the animation. The story seems also unsure of itself. But as I started to really get into the episodes, especially with episode 2 and 3 and how it started to get a lot better as the episodes went on, I was invested, especially with the gradual progression of the story, and the second half of the show really comes alive and gives you a really emotional arc that I didn't expect and I didn't think I was going to see from the show. The story becomes much more exciting and dramatic with wild twists, high stakes action, and one of the most beautifully animated episodes of the year with episode 6. You'll know, trust me, when you arrive to it. Most of that episode is also dialogue free until the last about 10 minutes, and it was breathtaking, let me just say that. And the interesting thing about this show is that this version of Devil May Cry mixes ideas from the classic Capcom games, the manga, and other spin-offs. It changes up some characters and the world just enough to feel fresh, both for new fans and for longtime DMC players. With this plot, it follows a young Dante, who is the main character, and he's a demon hunter. And that's pretty much what you see from the trailers. He has an attitude, he kind of has these one-liners, and it makes the show a little more entertaining. As the season does progress, you do start to uncover some secrets about his past, and the plot threads definitely intertwine more than I thought. The story touches on themes like identity, loyalty, and what it means to fight for something bigger than yourself, all while wrapped in an early 2000s vibe. Now, as far as the voice casting, the voice cast is top notch for sure. Yong Bosch plays Dante with just the right mix of snark and sadness. At first, he sounds like a superhero wannabe, kind of like a Spider-Man or like a Marvel character who's just saying some quips and some quick comebacks, but as the story grows, so does his character. Bosch nails the shift from silly to serious without ever losing Dante's edge. Now, this should come as no surprise, but another highlight is the late great Kevin Conroy as the intense and slightly scary Vice President Baines. Even though Baines is a brand new character, Conroy makes him feel like he's always been a part of this universe. And I gotta tell you, as soon as I heard his voice in the first episode, it not only made me a little emotional to hear his voice and think, wow, that's Batman, but also to know that he voiced this character right before he passed a few years ago. But I will say this, the real MVP here is Hoon Lee as the White Rabbit, aka the show's main villain. While the rabbit's reasons for causing chaos aren't super deep, you can't help but empathize with a lot of his actions. Lee's acting makes him feel powerful, confident, and a little unhinged in the best way. Especially the last like 3 episodes, I was so captivated by his performance and really felt for him more than what the story kind of gave us. Just his way of acting left me enthralled. Now let's get into the animation. Studio Mir does most of the heavy lifting when it comes to the animation, and they deliver some seriously fun and stylish action scenes. The sword fights and the battles are exciting and smooth. The only downside though is that the CGI used for some of the demons doesn't always look great. It kind of stands out in a couple of episodes and doesn't really match the rest of the hand-drawn art. If they would have changed that with a couple of episodes, I think it would have been flawless for sure. One thing I have to bring up is things change in episode 6 when Studio La Cache takes over for a short time. That episode is visually stunning. It's quiet, emotional, and incredibly well drawn. It feels like a short film inside the series and shows what this show is truly capable of when it gets bold with its animation style. And I love seeing the juxtaposition of different worlds that these characters are in and how that animation plays to the differences that you see. Now let's talk about the music, because I definitely have to bring it up. Just like most of us saw with that clip that Netflix released of Limp Bizkit playing as the intro card for this show, I was like, you sold me. I'm definitely gonna check it out. The soundtrack is one of the best parts of the show. It leans hard into 2000s rock and metal nostalgia, featuring bands like Limp Bizkit, Evanescence, and Rage Against the Machine. Every time the action would just climax, I would hear one of these songs and hear a couple of the notes or even some of the chords, and I thought, oh, it's about to go down. Dante's about to tear it up. This is getting crazy. And I loved seeing those scenes with this music featured in it. These songs add a wild energy to many of the fight scenes and key emotional moments. The 2 songs in particular that really stand out for me are Last Resort by Papa Roach when that comes on in episode 3. And Evanescence Afterlife for sure stands out in a big way during a major turning point in the story. Now, the background score by Power Glove combines heavy guitars and electronic beats. It fits perfectly with the dark, over-the-top world of Devil May Cry, while also giving you the feeling that you're playing parts of the game. Some of the eerie, horror-like sounds from the older games are missing, but overall, the music gives the series a strong identity and keeps the vibe consistent. Now, one of the other small little negatives, but it's just me being nitpicky, I do have to address it, is the dialogue. The writing can be a mixed bag at times. Some jokes in early episodes miss the mark and feel a bit out of place, but as the show moves forward, the dialogue improves a lot. Dante's one-liners are sometimes a hit or miss, but it's kind of a part of his charm, and it really shows how confident and clueless he is, even when his jokes flop. So it definitely adds to his character. And I will say that some of the lines he does say, especially in the later episodes, they kind of started to remind me of like a late 90s, early 2000s action flick. The show also adds political satire that pokes fun at early 2000s America, sometimes in a smart way, sometimes not so much. It never gets too heavy though, so even viewers just looking for action won't feel overwhelmed. And what I love the most too is that a few deeper messages are hiding underneath all the chaos, but the show doesn't try too hard to be something it's not. There's also some brief commentary about religion or beliefs in a lot of this show and kind of judging a book by its cover. Now here are my final thoughts, you guys. Devil May Cry may not be quite as groundbreaking as Cyberpunk Edgerunners for this first season, but it's still a blast. Some of the early stumbles when it comes to the CG or even some of the dialogue really get better as the show goes on, and with the jaw-dropping animation, story, as well as some of the character development, great music, and amazing voice acting ends up leaving you hyped to see more. And I love how this season also ends in a way that has me excited for season 2. With all that being said, you guys, I had a blast with this one, and I'm gonna give Devil May Cry season 1 4.5 flames out of 5 and a super fire show rating.
It's good. Really good.
This first season may stumble initially with uneven humor and clunky CGI, but ultimately it redeems itself with thrilling action, standout voice performances, and a visually stunning mid-season episode. And with some polish and fixes, future seasons could turn this into a top-tier video game adaptation on Netflix. So this is the part where I give some of my episode recommendations. Although there were quite a few great episodes in this first season alone, I thought I'd cut it down with my top 3, with those being episode 3 titled The Deep and Savage Way, episode 6 titled The First Circle, and finally episode 8 with the season finale of A River of Blood and Fire. Alright guys, so have you seen Devil May Cry season 1 yet? If you have, let me know what you thought about it overall. Also, what's your favorite video game adaptation, movie, or show that you've seen? Let me know in the comments below. And last thing before I do go, you guys, please make sure you hit that like, hit that subscribe, hit that notification bell to stay up to date. My name's JC, and until next time, I'm out.